Good morning. I hereby call to order this 10th meeting of the Pennsylvania Public Utility Commission for the year 2016, and I ask that you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first matter on this morning's agenda is the approval of the minutes for May 5th, 2016, and I will call on Vice Chairman Place as the editor.
Thank you, Chairman. I have reviewed the minutes of the May 5th, 2016 public meeting and move that they be approved as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion on the minutes? Any revisions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0. At this time, we will call up our Director of the Office of Special Assistance, Cheryl Walker Davis, to lead us through today's meeting agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning.
Good morning.
May it please this Honorable Commission, on behalf of your various offices and bureaus, we present for your consideration and disposition the following agenda items, commencing this morning with the case of special interest identified on page 1. It should be noted that that matter has been postponed until public meeting of June 30th. Turning now to page 2 of the public meeting agenda and matters presented on behalf of the Bureau of Audit. It is recommended in the proceeding involving UGI Utilities, Inc., UGI Central Penn Gas, Inc., and UGI Penn Natural Gas, Inc.'s Management Efficiency Investigation report. It's recommended that the report be released, made public, and that the company's implementation plan be made public as well. We should note that there is your statement, Madam Chairman, as well as the statement of Commissioner Powelson.
Do I have a motion to adopt staff recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Vice Chairman Place. Under discussion, I recognize Commissioner Powelson.
Thank you, Chairman. Before the Commission here this morning is a management efficiency investigation for UGI Utilities conducted by the PUC's Bureau of Audits. First, I'd like to commend the audits team who worked on this investigation, as well as the entire Bureau of Audits for performing an important service to the Commission that often goes unrecognized. Utility audits are essential to the PUC's mission of ensuring safe and reliable utility service. Management efficiency investigations like the one before us here this morning examine the effectiveness of a utility's management structure, as well as the operating efficiency of the utility, and ensure that the company properly implements recommendations from the prior management audits. And just in this particular case, I hearken back to, I think it could be over 3 to 4 years ago, where our audits team was coming to conduct an audit, and this particular entity was not even prepared in welcoming or being even prepared to begin the audit process. And I think whether it was a lack of preparedness or total disrespect or disregard for the work that our audits team has done, I think the new CEO, Robert Beard, had sent a loud and clear message that that will never happen again. And obviously, if you look at some of the findings in this report, this company has come certainly a long way from that particular episode. And I think it's important that it gets noted here this morning. UGI's upper management has been in the process of reorganizing over the last year. This is not only on the management side, but also on the gas safety side. And based on my review of the audit, UGI's new leadership team appears to be making strides in changing the company's culture, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, was an extremely combative culture, an argumentative culture with this commission. I'd like to think this morning we have a kinder, softer UGI. And I appreciate the proactive efforts of UGI that UGI has taken to improve their management structure, as well as the cooperation UGI has shown and demonstrated over the last 4 years since the last the last audit debacle with working closely with our audits team. Today's audit clearly demonstrates that UGI has made several significant improvements, and I'll note that it is certainly a work in progress. And although UGI still faces some remaining challenges, the company is making great strides to improve its operational efficiencies. And I encourage UGI to continue in that effort, particularly with respect to developing, I commend our chairman in leading this effort and having a broader discussion around cybersecurity planning, standardizing its physical security mitigation plans, and providing the PUC with documentation of an emergency response plan. Again, I appreciate UGI's efforts to date and encourage them to continue. As mentioned earlier, this is clearly a good work in progress. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Powelson. I do concur in his comments. I will submit mine for the record and just emphasize that in concurring with his comments, I too would like to remind those utilities such as UGI and our other regulated utilities to continue in their focus on security, both physical and cybersecurity. The creation of a robust cybersecurity plan would be a priority for all of us here at the Commission and for our utilities because of the system reliability, and therefore our citizens' welfare and the Commonwealth's economy depend on it. So I just want to also note that for the record.
Continuing with the
I was going to say, and with that,
Okay.
if there's no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Continuing with the presentation of public meeting agenda items and matters on behalf of the Office of Executive Director, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the recommendation to ratify the appointment of Daniel Mumford as the new Director of the Office of Competitive Market Oversight and Megan Good as the new Deputy Director of the Office of Competitive Market Oversight.
Do I have a motion on this ratification?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Madam Chair, can I take this opportunity? First, I want to thank our Executive Director, Jan Freeman, and his team in selecting these two, well, first of all, extremely well-qualified leaders within the Commission. These are two individuals that have worked very hard over the last, I'd say, since transition to full markets here, in making sure Pennsylvania has not only the proper rules in place, but more importantly, the enhancement mechanisms to encourage customers to actively shop in the marketplace, and more importantly, the work that they've done in collaborating with retail energy suppliers around things like bonding requirements, and more importantly, the work that they did, two of them in particular, Dan Mumford and Megan Good, the work that was done with the situation that we face with the polar vortex. So two great hires here this morning, and I think we'd all join in congratulating you. This is subject to audit, so you're on a 6-month review. I see Megan smiling like, I can't believe that. I'm only kidding. But Jan, thank you for selecting these two individuals, and well, we have to ratify it first, right, Madam Chair? So with that, I'll turn it back over to the chairman.
Any other comments?
Chairman, I'd like to associate myself with Commissioner Powelson's comments and congratulate both Dan and Megan in their new capacities here within the PUC.
I too would like to congratulate them. I know even from working over across the street, we did a lot of work with Dan, and he probably was tired of seeing the legislative staff, but you know, he weathered through it and came into a new position here. So we just want to thank him for all his work, and Megan as well. As my time that I have been here, she has been a great asset to the PUC, and I see great things for Megan coming along down the road. So just want to congratulate both of them. And with no further discussion.
No, I may as well.
Okay.
Don't want to be absent by silence, but absolutely reinforce what has been said here. Well done.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I will say that there's no opposed, so it goes 4-0. Thank you. Congratulations.
Continuing with the presentation of agenda items and matters on behalf of the Office of Special Assistants, commencing on page 4, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the various recommendations, commencing with that in the formal complaint proceeding of Du Bois Manor Motel, CO Nisha Patel versus Blue Pilot Energy LLC et al., and continuing with the remaining item on page 4, as well as the items appearing on pages 5, 6, through and including Andrew Kosman versus Pico Energy Company at the bottom of page 6.
Do I have a motion to adopt staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0.
With regard to the petition for a reconsideration amendment and/or clarification filed in the Philadelphia Gas Works distribution system improvement charge proceeding, there is your joint motion, Madam Chairman, along with Commissioner Powelson.
Do I have a motion to call up the staff recommendation for consideration?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Vice Chairman Place, and under discussion, I will recognize Commissioner Powelson.
Thank you, Chairman. In our order entered on January 28th of 2016, the Commission found that the record lacked evidence sufficient to grant PGW an increase in its DISC cap above the allowed 7.5% level in the event of an under-collection. In its petition here for reconsideration, PGW states that its annual DISC reconciliation for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2015 showed an undercollection for approximately $11.4 million. This undercollection was the result of the transition to an annualized levelized DISC calculation. As an alternative to raising the cap, PGW seeks to recover the $11.4 million shortfall over a 2-year period. This would require a temporary increase in the DISC of $5.7 million a year, which would increase residential rates by approximately 85 cents per month on average. The chairman and I believe that PGW should be permitted to increase the DISC above the 7.5% cap to allow for the recovery of $11.4 million under recovery over this 2-year period. We do so for several reasons here and reflected on the record. First, PGW has met the DUIC standard by providing new information on the amount of the undercollection. That new information has persuaded us to reconsider our decision here this morning. Second, while there is no good time to raise rates, PGW customers' overall rates have significantly decreased over the last few years as natural gas prices have deteriorated. And again, as we all like to reflect on those gas purchase costs, this has been a true win-win for consumers. Third, there is the imperative need to maintain the accelerated pace of at-risk pipeline replacement in order to protect public safety. Without affirmative action on PGW's petition here this morning, the first-year replacement gains under PGW's DISC would be nullified. The purpose of our January 2016 order was to generate $33 million per year of DISC-funded pipeline replacement, and provisions must be made if this goal is to remain achievable. And I commend the chairman and all my colleagues. This today represents another proactive step on the part of this commission to support the long-term viability of the Philadelphia Gas Works. And again, I applaud the staff in working with us, both the chairman's staff and my staff and all our staffs. This, again, I truly believe represents a proactive step in the long-term viability of this asset. And therefore, the chairman and I move this morning that the petition for reconsideration be approved in part and granted in part consistent with this joint motion, and that finally the Office of Special Assistance prepare an opinion and order consistent with this motion. Thank you.
You have heard the joint motion. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Vice Chairman Place. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the joint motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Joint motion passes 4-0. On the matter as amended by the joint motion, if there's no objection, we'll go by the previous roll call. Hearing no objection, the matter as amended passes 4-0.
It is recommended in omnibus fashion that the Commission adopt the remaining OSA recommendations, commencing with that in the formal complaint proceeding involving Vito Satiro versus Pico Energy Company, appearing at the bottom of page 7, and continuing with the items on page 8 through and including the proceeding involving the joint petition for approval of interconnection agreement of Consolidated Communications of Pennsylvania Company, LLC, and Granite Telecommunications, LLC.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0.
With regard to matters presented on behalf of the Bureau of Technical Utility Services, again in omnibus fashion, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the items commencing with the recommendation and the proceeding involving the petition of Philadelphia Gas Works for approval of a modified long-term infrastructure improvement plan, appearing at the top of page 9, continuing through the remaining items on pages 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13, as well as 14, through and including the recommendation and the proceeding involving the Peoples Natural Gas Company, LLC, and Peoples Natural Gas Company, LLC Equitable Division tariff supplement to replace its service expansion program rider.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Coleman, second by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0.
On behalf of the Office of Administrative Law Judge, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the various Administrative Law Judge recommendations, commencing with that appearing at the top of page 15, being ALJ Salapa's recommended decision in the proceeding involving UGI Utilities, Inc. Electric Division's Phase 2 of its Voluntary Energy Efficiency and Conservation Plan, EE&C plan, as well as the remaining items on pages 15 and 16 through and including the recommendation to adopt the joint petition for settlement in the general rate increase proceeding involving the Twin Lakes Utilities, Inc.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion?
Powelson.
Both of them. Yeah.
I'll defer to Coleman. He gets credit for that. It's not here. Well,
That's okay. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, with that concluding the presentation of regular agenda items, we now turn to the carry-in agenda. On behalf of the Office of Special Assistance, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the recommendation in the proceeding involving the complaint of the Commission's Bureau of Investigation and Enforcement versus Uber Technologies, Inc., Gagan LLC, Razir LLC, and Razir PA LLC to retain jurisdiction by granting a petition for reconsideration pending further review of the merits.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Powelson, second by Commissioner Coleman. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0.
On behalf of the Law Bureau, it is recommended that the Commission adopt the staff recommendation with regard to the implementation of the Alternative Energy Portfolio Standards Act of 2004.
Do I have a motion to adopt the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Vice Chairman Place, second by Commissioner Powelson. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes 4-0.
Madam Chairman and Commissioners, that does conclude the presentation of agenda items.
Thank you very much. We do ask that you stay after we gavel out for announcement of some retirements. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.